you should see more relative movement of the obstacles, and you can see this kind of cloudy stuff moving, and there's some grass at the bottom that's moving faster than the grass that's farther behind. This is the effect we're looking for. The other things I can do to finish off the animation are, well, I'd actually like to repeat this all 3 times. One way to do that would be to duplicate all of these compositions 3 times and lay them end to end. One way to make that a little less onerous would be to select all these compositions and pre-compose them. I'll just call it group comp. Drag this down below my hero. And this will just make it a little bit easier in this composition then to make it 3 times as long. Duplicate that a couple times. Select these 3. I'll use the keyframe assistant to sequence them with no overlap so that they're strung out along. And now I have a composition that goes for 9 seconds. Give me a little more time to animate my hero. The hero disappears here, and the shadow along with it. If I just kind of stretch that out, now they go the length of the composition, and I can animate the hero character. The hero and the shadow, I both want to animate position, and I'll be animating rotation too. Now one way to do the rotation is to have it just auto-orient along the path. As I go along here, I'll create my first keyframes at the beginning. Then I'm going to move these straight across. I'm doing this mostly to get the shadow going all the way across. Now I'm going to deselect the shadow and move this up. I'm going to have it kind of fly off the top here at the end. Now as it goes along, I want to create some keyframes where it's flying under that obstacle. Make sure it clears this one. Wanted to duck under this one. And then sail on up. And off the screen. Alright, so if I play that, I see it doing its dive, but I want it to angle its head a little bit. My first thought would be to use the auto orient, which would be under Layer, Transform, Auto Orient, and tell it to orient along the path. So now you see it diving down and going up. And this is a little bit too extreme because the nature of the side-scrolling means that this path is much steeper than the actual movement. So I'm going to undo the auto orient, or you can go in and just turn it off. Layer, Transform, Auto Orient. You can turn that off. And put in rotational keyframes instead. So when it's coming on screen, it can be angled down. So I need a rotation keyframe. So we'll start out with this rotation. So create my first keyframe at the beginning with the head angled down. At this point, I want it to be angling up. At this point, it should be angled down. Angled up here. Towards the end, have it leveling off. That'll happen very gradually then. If I deselect that, then I don't see the path. Yeah, that animation could be smoothed out a little bit, but that's essentially what I'm looking for. So we have side scrolling with parallax, and we have a hero character moving through the scene, entering and then exiting. The thing that would really finish it off would be to animate the opacity of the shadow so that as it goes farther away, it starts to fade out. I'll leave that to your imagination.